Hi guys, it's Anne here, and today's video is talking about all the eyeshadows that I have. We're starting off on a little bit of a rough note. I already filmed this once and I realized I messed up all the numbers, so I needed to refilm because it wasn't just like one or two here. It was like, yeah, I really messed up. And when I was trying to film the little, or take a picture of the little thumbnail, I was holding a bunch of palettes and then I put them down and then I accidentally knocked one and it fell on the floor, but in doing so, you know when you like react, and I ended up knocking all the other ones almost on the floor. We did have one casualty. I think I've saved most of it, but we'll get to that one. So let's just talk about eyeshadows in general. Eyeshadows make me happy. Clearly, especially in 2019, because I bought a lot. So this video is inspired by Lauren May Beauty's video. She did one in 2015 and then she redid it again to see where her numbers were at. And her numbers like definitely went down. If I had done this video in 2015, my numbers would be like, woo, way up. Even just listing out, so I listed out all of the palettes that I have and how many shadows are in each one. And the majority of palettes I bought have been in the last couple of years. We'll get into the number that I bought in 2019. That was something, why I wanted to do this video is because I knew I'd bought a lot of colored powder. I'm still filming how much did I spend in 2019, so I don't know what order they're gonna go up in. But you'll see when you see that video, I spent a lot of money on eyeshadow in 2019. So that's what really motivated me to do this video. I really kind of needed to see what I have, how much I have, and maybe that will help me with my budget for 2020 in not buying more eyeshadow that I just don't really need. First up, let's just go over all the numbers. So in total, I have 35 palettes. Now that includes, I counted the little quads that I got in the, what do you call this, Color Workshop Ultimate Eye Set. I counted all quads as one palette, so there were 6 palettes of 4. So then I'm counting that as like a 24 shadow palette, just to make my life easy, but the rest of them are like actual palettes. I also have 11 singles. So singles I'm considering are this. So this count is all just like pressed eyeshadows, like pressed powder eyeshadows. I do have a handful of cream ones. I do have a handful of loose pigments, but this is just all the pressed powder ones that I'm talking about. So I do have 11 of these. So if I include the 11 of those plus all of the individual pans of eyeshadow, I have 458. Now that's actually less than what Lauren had, so yay me, I guess. But I have a very small collection. I know that. I don't have a lot. Well, at least I've always thought I've had a very small collection. It's definitely grown quite a bit since I've started this channel. So why I was really interested in doing this was to see how much did I spend in 2019, or at least how much did I add to my collection. So I originally had 21 palettes. I added 14 palettes in 2019. So I increased my overall collection by 66%. And originally I had 276 shadows and I added 182. So as you can see, that's, I think that number is correct. So yeah, basically I increased my collection by 66% in 1 year. I have 2 eyeballs. That's a lot of colored shadows. So I quickly wanted to recap and talk about what I did add to my collection this year and sort of quick thoughts about what I added, why I added it, and would I do it again. So there were 3 single shadows that I added. 2 were these Ace Beauté ones from BoxyCharm. I probably would not have bought these on my own, so again, kind of like meh. They're nice, but I wouldn't have added them myself. The Annabelle Metallic Eyeshadow in Over the Taupe. I like this. I probably didn't need to buy it, but I was so curious about what this shadow would be like, so I did buy it. It's fairly simple. It's not very metallic. It's just a very easy everyday shade. It doesn't have a whole lot of pigment though, so that's the only thing. If you want to get more pigment out of it, you need to wet it. So those were the only 3 single press shadows that I added. I added 5 actual single, or sorry, 6 single shadows, no, 5. I can count. 5 single shadows, and they were all Clione single shadows, like without packaging. So these 5 right here, I did a video on those, so if you want to see them, they're in that video. I'm very happy with those shadows. I don't use them a whole lot because they are kind of special, but I'm happy with those. I would repurchase them. I want to buy more, but clearly we're here because I have a problem. and I'm not going to buy any more anytime soon, unfortunately. So the largest palette that I have is the Natural Lust palette. This is the 30 pan palette. This is actually the largest palette I have. I think the next largest has like 24 or so, somewhere in that range. And then technically the smallest palette that I have is this little twofer from Pixie by Petra, which I also bought this year. So I thought that was interesting that I bought like my smallest and my biggest in 2019. All of these palettes are like in no particular order. I'm just quickly reviewing what I purchased. I also picked up the Too Faced Gingerbread Extra Spicy palette. I bought this at the end of 2019, so in December, and I'm happy with this. Did I need it? No, but do I like it? Yes. So I have the like original Too Faced chocolate bar palette, not the original, but mine actually has like the names in it. That's how I know it's not the original. And I have the Bonbon, so I feel like I have a nice balance because I feel like this is like a warm tone one. The chocolate bar one is like a neutral, and then the Bonbons one is like a cool tone one. So I feel like I'm very well rounded in my Too Faced like tin palettes. So I did a whole video on these. I haven't used them since that video. I actually had these all in the packaging, and I just finally took it all out because I put it all back in the packaging to do the photo for the thumbnail. And yeah, I just left them there. So I've now taken these out of the packaging, so at least they're now with all my other eyeshadows. Two palettes came within BoxyCharm. One was this Tarte Be Naturally You palette, I think is what it's called, and then this Butter London Natural Goddess palette. This one, while it has some nice shades in it, like there's some really nice shades in here, like Queen and Diva are really nice shades. I probably wouldn't buy this palette. Like it's okay, but it's definitely not anything special that I would have gone out of my way to buy. I also picked up the Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry palette, and I actually quite like this. Now, I'm pretty much only drawn to like the first four shadows. These three are maybe a little dark for me, but I've been wearing this on and off. I haven't worn it enough, but the few times that I've worn it, I like it. The only thing that's kind of meh about this palette is that it's very like monochromatic, so you're basically gonna get the same look every time you use it, which is not a bad thing. The smell on it's definitely dissipated. It's not as strongly smelling as it was before. I picked this up with, I bought the pineapple one for a giveaway, and to be honest, I wanted to buy the pineapple one for myself as well, so I almost bought two pineapple ones and the raspberry one, but I'm kind of glad I didn't because I really did not need that palette. This is on a maybe. I'm not sure if I would have picked this up again, given the opportunity. So this Smashbox palette is probably one I would not have picked up if I had the choice again. It's the Bold Glitter eyeshadow palette. I actually did an entire video using this palette along with, I think, the BH Royal Affair palette. But anyway, yeah, that video never saw the light of day because I don't really like the way the look turned out. And these are kind of dry. You really have to work at them to get the pigment to start coming out. Once you do, you eventually get it. I got this at Winners on sale. I don't really wear super glittery eyeshadows, plus these are all like really dark colors. I was actually really drawn to like the green for some reason, and it's probably like my least favorite that I've tried in this, so this one again would be one that I would probably not purchase if I was given the opportunity again. For some reason I've bought a lot of Too Faced this year. I don't know why that is. I think probably mostly because it is more of an affordable brand here in Canada compared to like the Urban Decay Naked palettes or Huda Beauty or something. The Too Faced ones seem to be fairly affordable. So this is the Too Faced White Peach palette. This is a bit controversial for some people. People either love it or hate it. I'm in the I love it category. It's very light shadows. They're very powdery, but they're kind of like a sheer wash of color, and I personally really like that. I've talked about this. I have really deep set eyes, and sometimes I don't like to wear dark colors just because I feel like it makes my eyes recede even more, whereas, you know, for an everyday quick wash of color, I really like this palette. It's nothing too exciting, but I like it. And again, I got this on sale at Winners. I should have done that. I should have like tallied up all the ones that I got from Winners. I don't really want to do that. I'm not going to talk too much about this one because I did an entire video on this one. It's the Color Story Kaleidoscope. Curiosity killed the cat on this one. That's why I bought it. I probably wouldn't necessarily purchase it again. I don't know. I don't mind it. It's a nice palette. The colors in the pan are not necessarily what you get on your eye. Like this one ends up being more of like a lime green on your eye, but it looks more like an olive green in the pan. I wouldn't buy any more from this brand probably, and I think I said that in the video. Like this was the only color scheme that appealed to me, so that's why I picked it up. And the pans are huge. Like the pans in this they're gonna last me forever. So there's that. Yeah, it's not a bad palette. It's not a great palette. This one again is maybe in a maybe category. I might have picked this up because I feel like I would have always been curious if I did not pick it up. So the e.l.f. Rose Gold Nude Palette. This was again always one that I've been curious about, so I picked it up again on sale at Winners. When I swatched this with the Too Faced Natural Lust palette, I was kind of ho-hum about this and thought, I don't know, and I posted that on my Instagram, but since then I have used it a few times, and I do really like this. It is a nice little palette. Some of these colors, like this color over here, the second one from the beginning, is a really, really nice color, and I do like these sort of like in-between shades. They're just nice. They're different. Although I say they're different, and when I was looking at this palette compared to the CoverGirl True Naked Roses, they're very similar. This one's probably a bit nicer, mainly because this is newer, and I think it does have a couple more shades, whereas my Roses one is kind of old, so it's starting, like, the quality's not the best, and it doesn't have as many shades. But yeah, this one is probably again in the maybe category. I'm not sure. I didn't need this because I do have a palette that's very similar, but I am glad I did buy it and try it out. So the reason why I had to refilm this, or one of the reasons, was this Charlotte Tilbury palette. I forgot that I got this year because I got it in Beautylish, so it was like the first palette that I got. It was at the very, very beginning of the year. This palette, again, I didn't pick this out on my own. It came in my Beautylish Lucky Bag. I wouldn't have bought it. The quality is not that great for, like, these. I know these are real pricey, and I don't think the quality of this is all that good compared to some of the other eyeshadow palettes I have. Now, I've heard different things from different quads. I think different quads have different quality. I know there's like a Pillow Talk one that would probably be pretty nice. I think there's an All Glitters one that has mixed reviews as well. This one's in the Dolce Vita. Yeah, if I had a choice, I probably wouldn't have picked this out on my own. Second to last is this BH Cosmetics Royal Affair palette. This one's a really good palette. If you do see this palette in Winners and it does like speak to you and you do want it, I think it's worth it. I think I paid around $19.99 for this, maybe less, maybe $14.99. And the quality is really, really good in this. And it's got a lot of interesting shades. I feel like I haven't played enough with this. Like this really pretty pink shade in here. There's a nice olive green, or like this green right here. I am wearing this palette on my eyes today because I was playing with it. And I love this color. This color is called Throne. It's really unique. I'm not sure the camera really picks up how cool this color looks in person. It's like an iridescent purpley blue. I don't know. It's really neat. I really like that color. So yeah, I'm really happy with this palette. Again, if the color story in this speaks to you, it does lean a little warm. Well, it's sort of neutral warm, I would say. And I'm happy with this. So I definitely am glad I bought this. And then the last palette, I'm not even going to tilt it up, but I've talked about this a number of times. It was in my favorites. It's the Huda Beauty Nude Obsessions in the light shade. And it's got the Casualty. It has one shade in it that's a little busted, so I need to try and repair it. Let's see if I can open it slightly. I don't want to tilt it up, but hopefully you can see this guy. This guy died. So I was able to like sacrifice or salvage most of the shadow, so I'm going to try and press it back in because that makes me really sad that that died. I'm really glad I did this exercise. It took a lot of work to actually like go through all the palettes and then count up all the actual individual shadows. But for me, it was well worth it because it's really put some things in perspective. I knew I had spent a lot in 2019. I just, you know when you've spent a lot in 2019. And I kind of know why I went a little crazy. And I almost blame it on myself for doing the inventory. So I do inventory every year of what I have. I've done it the last 2 years. And when I did my inventory of my eyeshadows, I'm like, oh, I don't really have a whole lot. So in my mind, it was like, you now have freedom to add to that category compared to, I felt like I had a whole lot of lipstick, so I really didn't want to add to that. And I've talked about I have a whole lot of nail polishes, so I don't want to add to that. But for some reason, that gave me the authority to then be like, oh, you don't have a whole lot of eyeshadow, you can add more to that. And I did. And I don't want to say I regret it, but I still think I could have been a bit choosier. There's definitely, like I mentioned, a couple of palettes. There was definitely a few that I really did not need to buy. They were just there, or they were on sale, or I acquired them through a subscription box that I could have definitely done without. But I'm glad I've done this because it's given me like a fresh start for 2020, that I need to really be careful for what eyeshadows I decide to bring in. I need to really think about the palettes that I may or may not purchase in 2020. And this has helped sort of given me a baseline of where I'm at today. And just be a bit more careful and cautious. The one thing I would like to do, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, is to take photos of all of the palettes and then actually see what colors I have, to see, like, there's probably a heck of a lot of repeats. I know for sure in like the neutrals, like in the beiges to browns, I've got a lot of repeats there that I really don't need extra. So I'm definitely good for eyeshadow for a while. I hope you liked this video. If you did, feel free to give it a little thumbs up down below. I would love it if you did subscribe to my tiny little channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you have a fabulous day, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.